The movie starts with the main character being nicknamed Casper. On Casper's back you can see tattooed letters MS, symbolizing his belonging to the famous Mara Salvatrucha gang. The young bandit takes to the streets of Tapachula, a city in southern Mexico. Here he is engaged in collecting tribute from local businessmen. After performing his bandit duties, he goes to visit his little friend named Benito. Benito's grandmother is not happy about his arrival, as she doesn't want her grandson to grow up to be a bully like them. But Benito is much more interested in living with them than at home. So he runs away from home and shows Casper the stolen items. To join the gang, Benito undergoes a brutal rite of passage. He is beaten by the mob. Despite his condition, Benito is glad to have joined the gang. The action then moves to the capital of Honduras, where a girl named Sarah lives. Her father plans to cross the border illegally with his daughter and brother to start a new life. He already has a family in America. Meanwhile, Casper and Benito are on duty at the railroad station. But then he receives a message from his girlfriend and, leaving his post, makes his way to her house. Later, back at headquarters, Casper warns the boy to keep his mouth shut and not to talk about the fact that they have violated orders. At headquarters, a member of a rival gang is tortured. The gang leader orders Benito to kill him so that he can finally become part of the violent world he has longed for. Benito hesitantly pulls the trigger. Then the gang leader congratulates him. He is now a real gang member. So he finds himself in a web of crime, which will draw him in more and more each time. Meanwhile, the action moves to the jungle, where Saira and her relatives are walking along difficult paths. After making their way through the dense greenery, the travelers find themselves on the border with Mexico. The border guards detain them, search them, but, finding nothing forbidden, let them go. Her father shows her on a map where they are now. She learns that they have a journey ahead of them that will last another 2 or 3 weeks. Late at night, Casper is on duty at the train station with Marta, his girlfriend. While on duty, they have a big fight and she accuses him of cheating on her. Casper tries to justify himself, but the girl does not believe him. When Marta is about to leave, other members of the gang appear at the station. They ask Casper to come to the meeting at the cemetery tomorrow. Seeing Marta, Solemn asks who she is. Casper, to avoid unnecessary questions, introduces her as a casual acquaintance. Marta, expecting something different from her boyfriend, leaves offended. The next day at a meeting, Lil Mago brings up the issue of money. As the meeting comes to an end, Casper notices that Martha has come to the cemetery uninvited. He leaves Casper at his post and suggests that she go to the gate. In a quiet corner of the cemetery, he tries to rape her, but the girl desperately resists. Angered by her refusal, he brutally stabs her. As she falls, Martha smashes her head and dies. As darkness falls, Lil Mago returns to the gang. Realizing that something is wrong, Casper asks about Martha. The ringleader, smirking, advises the teenager to find himself a new girlfriend. Casper has no choice but to agree. Lil Mago doesn't even let him be sad. Tomorrow they have a new assignment. The migrants board a train to continue their journey to the United States. However, peace quickly breaks down when a trio of bandits, led by Lil Mago, join the train. They begin robbing the poor people and threatening them with guns. Lil Mago notices Saira and decides to take her by force. Casper, on the verge of guilt and pain after Marta's death, decides to do a desperate act. He cuts the throat of his leader. Realizing the consequences of his act, Casper realizes that now he is a target for the whole gang. Now he has only one way out, to go to the United States with the migrants. So he chases Benito away and sits down next to the migrants. Benito returns to the gang headquarters and tells what happened. The new leader gives him a new assignment. He must kill his former friend to show his loyalty to them. Saira is grateful to him, so she brings him food. At this time Benito and a group of fighters from the local branch of the gang start a search. From a local vagrant they learn where Casper has gone. As they approach Orizaba, Casper warns Saira that the town is a dangerous zone with police and border guards constantly on duty. The migrants jump off the train and flee through the town on foot. Meanwhile, an enemy gang opens fire on Benito's group. A firefight ensues as this is the enemy gang's territory and they are outnumbered. They are forced to retreat. Casper manages to escape and gets back on the train, while the pursuers continue their journey by car. In the morning, approaching Mexico City, Casper jumps off the train, hoping to get lost in the city streets. But his plan falls apart when he spots Saira, who has left her father and uncle to follow him. Realizing that she is in danger, Casper nevertheless agrees to take her with him. They go to the house of Aunt Tony, a woman with a criminal past. The woman is well aware that gangs are after him. She hides them in the trunk of a car and takes them out of town, where she transfers them to a car carrier headed for the border. But after they leave, the woman betrays him and tells the gang where he's headed. Now it's the two of them against the whole gang, with the hope of escape, but with the realization that every next day could be their last. The final denouement of this suspenseful story unfolds on the banks of the Rio Grande River. Saira and Casper, exhausted by the road, finally find a guide willing to help them cross the water. But fate has plans of its own. Casper realizes they are running out of time. He rushes Saira. The guide whispers to her to get ready, the river is cold, the current is fast, so they need to be careful. The girl steps forward despite her fear. Clutching her bag of belongings in her hands, she turns around and sees Casper freeze for a moment, staring after her. Benito appears on the other bank with a group of armed bandits. Their eyes are full of anger. Screams break the silence and the hunt begins. Saira, forgetting everything, rushes back to the shore, calling for Casper, but the guide shouts that it is too dangerous. Casper runs out into an empty clearing, but his path is blocked by Benito. The boy is trembling, a revolver in his hands. The boy pulls the trigger. Casper falls to the ground, but it's not enough. The bandits run up and finish him off, the bullets turning his body into a bloody mess. Saira, standing in the middle of the river, sees this. She makes it to the opposite bank. Sobbing, she walks out to the city's shopping center. Amidst the brightly colored window displays and the hustle and bustle of the new world, she looks alien, like an alien from another reality. Finding a phone booth, Saira dials a memorized number with trembling fingers. This is where the movie ends. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and like the channel. See you soon.